This is the plaintiff, Jeff Webb. He says he put in 190 hours of hard labor building a trailer for the defendant, and the guy's not paying him for all his hard work. This is a very uncomfortable position he's in because the defendant's his neighbor, and things are quite uncomfortable now. He's pretty darn sure the judge is going to be fair today and side with him so he can get paid the $5,000 he's owed. That's exactly why he's suing. This is the defendant, Edward Castellano. He says he paid his neighbor in full for the trailer. Then, when it was completed, he tried to up the price on him for no reason. The guy called the cops on him, tried to get him arrested. Now they're in the middle of one of those classic neighbor feuds, and he needs the judge to sort this big mess out. He's accused of not paying for a custom trailer build. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,396.25 for security cameras, legal fees, and lost wages.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn in.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Webb, you're suing your neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Castellano, for $5,000 that you say you are owed for a custom trailer that you built. You have a counterclaim against him for almost $1,400 for expenses that you have had to go through in order to install security cameras, lost wages, and paralegal fees. Okay, let me hear from you first. What's going on?
Well, somewhere back in October, my neighbor and I, we got together.
How long have you been neighbors?
4.5 years.
Okay.
And we got together. He saw the work that I used to do as a trailer repair and builder.
What kind of trailers are we talking about?
All-purpose type trailers, generally.
Like metal trailers that tow things that you hitch to your truck?
Hitch to your truck or car.
Okay, that would tow materials or whatever else?
Materials.
So it's open?
It's open and closed. I do just about everything there is. I was a designer, fabricator of all different types of vehicles in that area. From little camper trailers all the way up to big trailers, car carriers, that kind of stuff. So
okay.
Continue back into October. We got to talking a few times. Well, I showed him some trailers that I was building at that time, just little trailers when I was in business. He liked them, and I says, well, yeah, this is what I build, and I gave him an X amount of price of what they were, and he says, oh, those are just too expensive for him at that time. I said, well, you know, it is what it is. That's what I charge, and that's what I do.
All right, so in any event, you don't do business then, and when is it that you guys agree to do business?
We agreed about November.
All right, and what was the business that was agreed upon?
The business was to, I had a trailer that I was building for myself to move. I was no longer in business. I closed my doors down in 2015, so it was more like a hobby now than actually a business. It was a mutual agreement. We were just talking about it, and I needed some storage because my property's mass, my building's mass. I have a lot of stuff that I needed put away that I couldn't take on our move. I had my house up for sale. So we were talking about a trailer that I had sitting there. I was building for myself, but it was taking, a long period of time. I didn't know exactly how I was going to finish it. And he came over and he says, well, yeah, I'd like to have a trailer like that. I said, well, maybe we can make a kind of an arrangement. You let me have a little bit of your yard for storage. And
for how long?
For about up to a year. So I said, okay, I built him a trailer. And I had specified very carefully that the trailer that I had there's over about $500 worth of just steel right there in the trailer. And I said, well, I can't be out of pocket anymore material-wise. So anything out of pocket, he said he would take care of, not a problem.
Okay, so the deal was that you would be able to store what for up to a year? How many things?
3 items that mainly, they were very large.
Did he agree to those 3 items?
Absolutely.
And in return, you were going to do what? Supply the labor to finish building that trailer?
Okay, the agreement was that I was going to build a trailer for him. I had some materials in my stock that I had paid for in prior years.
Did he pay you any money for the trailer?
He paid me $500 for the beginning of the steel that he had
Did he pay you anything else?
He paid me $140 for screening material that he decided.
Anything else?
No.
Do you recall paying anything other than the $500 and the $140?
I have receipts for all kinds of materials that
May
I
I
put
see
into
those?
Yes. And
those are materials that you agreed to pay for changes you wanted for the trailer.
Yes.
So we don't have a dispute. Actually, you can give it back to him. So we don't really have a dispute about that. That's stuff that you wanted to do to the trailer, and so you covered it. And so you tell me about the agreement that he has with you. He's going to build you a trailer for free in return for what?
He wasn't going to build me a trailer for free. The agreement was $500, and I supply what he didn't have.
Why would anybody do that for you?
We go back, and he said he would do this for me.
As a favor, because he loves you?
Because we're good neighbors, because we've done a lot, we
Well,
have
I
a
can't help but
history
notice
of.
you're here. You're not good neighbors. You're here.
I thought we were.
You couldn't
You're right.
work it out amongst.
You're right.
So he says that you agreed to let him store that stuff.
I totally did agree to let him store it. It had nothing to do with our trailer deal. The trailer.
How long did you agree to let him store it for?
He told me it was going to be maybe a couple of months, but it was separate from the trailer, this trailer deal. He started blending that about halfway into this. It started saying things like, "Oh, I'm building you this great trailer because you're gonna let me keep my stuff on your property." I said, "Jeff, it has nothing to do with the trailer. I'm doing this because we're neighbors and that's what we do. You can keep
Okay,
your
so
stuff on my
then,
property."
but you're going to need to tell me why he would agree to build you essentially a free trailer.
A free
if there's
trailer?
nothing, yeah, free.
No, I
Because
paid him
$500 is not what a trailer costs.
$640.
According to you, what does a trailer cost?
Between $5,000 and $6,000 for that.
I don't know about
type of
that,
trailer.
but certainly not zero, because that's what you're saying.
I
he
am
was-
not saying zero, Your Honor.
Well,
I'm
it sounds
saying
like you are, because
I
you're
gave him
saying his labor's
640.
worth zero because he was just doing it for free.
I gave
and
him
that
six-
doesn't sound believable to me.
I-
So what ends up happening here?
It was the end of February. I finished the trailer. He needed a hitch for the van and a brake controller so he could operate the brakes on the trailer. And I said, for $100, I'll do it. You know, no big deal. We're neighbors. You're
He
giving me
pays you the $100, and what happens? If I
And-
hear either one of you say, "We're neighbors, that's what neighbors do," because I know the texts you sent each other, okay? It's not how neighbors don't end up in court sending each other the nasty texts talking about each other's gonads and everything else that happens. So please stop telling me what good neighbors are, because we're neighborly.
I
That's
didn't
what
talk
neighbors
about
are.
anybody's
I am going to literally stick this in my ear if either one of you say that again, okay? Now, so he asks you to put on the hitch. You tell him you'll do it for $100, and then what happens?
Well, I told him I needed a little bit more time because I have a severe back injury problem. And I needed at least a week or so to recoup after building his trailer. And he says, fine, not a problem.
And then what happens?
Then 2 days later, after he brought his van over, he took it back, and then the van kind of disappeared. He said he had to do work and this, that, and the other. I said, okay, fine, bring it back. And he brought it back. The very next day, he took it back again. So I'm thinking, okay,
And
well,
did he
has
say anything?
He says that he was going to put the trailer hitch on himself. I was taking too much time, and I said, look, we talked about doing this on Friday. I needed more time to relax, and he wasn't going to give it to me. Apparently, he went off in a tantrum, and I just was floored. What rubbed me the wrong way is that he came over after he took the van back and said that he wanted a statement of construction and a bill of sale for the trailer. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. I haven't stored anything. I've just been working on his trailer, and I've been working my tail off on it. And it just seemed awful funny that he would want this right now.
Okay, hold on one second. And what is it he's talking about that you said you wanted? What is that
Statement
necessary
of
for, to
construction
register it?
is what he said he was going to give me when he was done with the trailer. He was going to write how much I paid him to do the work he did, so
What's it necessary for?
to get it registered.
Okay.
I thought.
All right.
Anyways.
You thought or no?
Well, I thought I didn't need it.
As it turns out, you didn't
As
need
it turns out, I didn't need it.
Okay. So you were able to register it without
Yes.
any of that?
Yes.
All right. So he tells you, I need these documents, and I need them now, and you don't like the way he's saying that?
Yes, he came back very verbally and just said that it's not acceptable to him, period. So unfortunately, I did put the trailer in his property. It was right across the street. And I had his van. I thought, well, we had it at collateral, but he took it back on 2 different occasions. So I just assumed that, okay, we can work this out. So after he got mad and everything, I waited a couple weeks, and I went over to his, he was pulling out of his driveway or pulling into his driveway, I don't remember which. And I asked him, I says, we got to talk about this. I don't understand why you feel that you don't owe me any labor. I work
Well,
very
why
hard.
would he owe you labor? According to you, the deal is that you get to have free storage. That was
Well,
the deal, right? The deal
when
wasn't, I'll
he-
pay you for labor.
When he started making a tantrum, it occurred to me that the storage was kind of way out in the left field. It was not going to happen.
Why would that occur to you? Is this a picture of the trailer we're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your trailer?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. What do you mean it occurs to you that it's not going to happen? Like, do you ever discuss with him the storage? Did he ever say
I-
you're not storing stuff here?
Well, when he went off in a tandem, taking the van, the trailer, and putting locks on it, and parking his vehicle in front of it, and then putting no trespassing signs, I'm assuming the deal
You
is
just
gone.
assumed that the deal was off?
Yes.
What's going on with that? You not only did you post security cameras and no trespassing signs, but you also would like to sue him to make him pay you for it.
Your Honor,
Tell me about that.
The day after I got the text, did you see the text?
Yeah, let's take a look at the text.
So it was the day after.
What did you say to him the day? I just want to see. I am fascinated by the anatomy of a lawsuit. I want to see if I can replay all this and see the exact moment where you two playing Quienes Mas Macho resulted in a complete breakdown of your agreement and a lawsuit on the People's Court of all places. That's what I'd like to see. So let's
Your
see
Honor,
if we
I
can
was blindsided
analyze
by
it.
that text.
Hey, EDD Jeff. What's that mean?
That's hey, Ed, Jeff.
We need to talk about payment. I was hoping you'd have the gonads to talk to me first, but apparently you don't. So at your earliest convenience, we need to talk. And by the way, I no longer feel that your storage idea is feasible.
That
to
was
which
the
you
first time that-
respond, paid you $140 for the metal sides and $500 for everything else. What are you talking about? Well, I think you know what he's talking about. Really? You
No,
think that
I
the
don't
steel...
know what he's talking about.
Can I tell you what he's talking about? You think that the trailer I just showed you a picture of cost $500?
No, I
Because
don't.
all of us want to buy it if that's the case.
15.
Now, having said that, that's not the deal you guys struck.
I've got
the deal, you put your
$800
papers down and stop interrupting me. The deal you guys struck was storage.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Would you do business with a neighbor?
Sure,
Any problems with that?
absolutely.
Why would you do business then?
If it goes wrong, then you still got to deal with them.
Right, so you would do business or wouldn't do business?
Guess not.
Oh, see how convincing I am? What do you say?
I would do business.
Why? You just heard what she said.
I don't know, but I would do business. Like if it's something good, I will do it.
Okay, I think I'm gonna quit. Going inside the courtroom.
So if I think that the deal is to store those items, y'all aren't even really in a position to store the items anyway because you haven't even sold the place. And you don't want to store them there because you don't like them and you don't trust them. But if that's your deal, why would I enforce the deal you're trying to create now when it was you who pulled out of the deal? In other words, you said, you know what, you're a jerk and I don't want to store my stuff there. So I'm taking it that I'm not welcome since there's no trespassing signs.
That was after.
Mr. Castellano, he doesn't build you something without something in it for him. And the something in it for him is a year's storage. You tell me what, you say it's separate, but what was that separate agreement?
Separate agreement was he could bring whatever he needed to bring over, and I'll let him keep it there. Because it was no problem for me. I have a vacant acre of land. I have plenty of space for whatever time he needed.
All right, so if I am in a position where I believe that that was the agreement, then why would I order him to pay you $5,000 as opposed to telling him that's the agreement and you need to abide by the agreement whenever they sell the house and are ready?
Well, the only thing I can say, Your Honor, is we're in an estimate of the trailer. That's how I based the full price on.
No, I understand. But I'm in the business of enforcing contracts that you enter into. If
Okay.
you regret the contract you entered into, that's on you. In other words, if you now wish you had just sold it to him, that's great, but that's not what you did.
Okay.
So I cannot be enforcing the contract you wish you'd entered into. I
Yes.
can only enforce the contract I believe you entered into. I do not believe him when he says that's totally separate. I do not believe it was totally separate. I believe that it was part of what it is you guys discussed and how you ended up building this trailer. So what I believe you are entitled to is the thing you were worried about doing. You say you were worried about doing it, but really you're not even in the position to do it yet because you haven't sold your house. But I believe that what you are entitled to is a year's storage of those 3 items that we talked about. That's what I believe you're entitled to. I understand your hesitation to do it because you don't trust him or whatever else, but that's another lawsuit for another day if something happens to your stuff suspiciously when it's stored on his property. I don't think that's going to happen. But, you know, the sad part is you guys are all still living there and you're all neighbors, and now what are you guys doing? Nobody talks to anybody? Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I am making a factual finding that the agreement between the two of you was the storage. What I'm going to do with your lawsuit is dismiss it without prejudice to you raising it again if there was ever a situation where storage was denied you. But I don't think there's going to be. I think he would abide by that because otherwise he's going to be out a lot more money having to recompense you for storage later. And he's saying, I have no problem with it. Should you decide not to store your stuff there, you're free and American. If that's what you want to do, don't store your stuff there. But that's the agreement that you reached. So I'm not going to order him to pay you $5,000. Now let's talk about the rest of your counterclaim. He should pay for your security cameras. Why?
Coming on my property and threatening me.
Okay, so tell me about
And
that.
harassing me and constantly coming up and yelling at me and my kids. And
How does that translate into you have to pay for security cameras? I mean, that's a choice you made.
Well,
You decided to put in $1,000 security cameras. Why would I order him to pay for that? I just don't see a legal obligation
It
on
has
his
helped.
part because your remedy is to put trespass signs and tell the police and then get him arrested for trespass. It's not to have him pay for state-of-the-art security cameras. Money's
No.
for a paralegal. Tell me about that.
well, just to fill out the countersuit, I didn't know how to word it, and I didn't know.
Okay, but that's not compensable. And then color copies, I guess that's for court, and then lost
Yeah.
wages. All right.
Color copies
All right,
and-
folks, here's how this is going to end up getting resolved. You are entitled to the benefit of your bargain when you make a bargain. And this very loose bargain that you guys made that was verbal, that now is a subject of great dispute because it was verbal, because neither of you has the foresight to try to put your agreement in writing because you think, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? What could go wrong? What goes wrong is what goes wrong in front of me every day. And then I love when the answer is, well, we were close, we were neighbors. That's exactly who you want something in writing with, the person you don't want to then end up having this tense situation. So no, you're not going to get $5,000 because that wasn't the deal you struck. The deal you struck was 1 year of storage, and that's what you'll get if the day comes where you ever want to do it and you have a need for it, okay? As for your counterclaim, my verdict is 0. That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
The plaintiffs, Mr. Webb, has just come out of the courtroom. You both wanted the judge to kind of work this out and come to a decision.
Yes.
Well, she's done it. What do you think about it?
Well, I think she was fair, and I think this is something I need to consider in the future is to make sure it's in writing.
Boy, you've learned a valuable lesson.
Oh, I sure have.
Let me ask you something else. Things were bad before you came here.
Yes.
Now you've gone to court. You've gotten a decision. You still live across the street from each other. What happens now?
I ain't got too longer before I won't live across the street. That's a good thing.
How much longer? What do you mean?
Hopefully within
you haven't been able to sell it.
Well, I just listed it with a full realtor instead of listing it by myself. So it should go within a few months at the most.
You think you can keep the peace while as long as you're there?
I don't see any problem in that.
I mean, you're going to go over and scream at him again and his kids and do all that stuff?
No, that's not important.
That's not nice.
It's not
Yeah.
important. It's not important. You know, like I say, it's done, it's over with, and I've learned a valuable lesson.
So the key is, has the decision now ended this? You're
I
not
would
gonna-
say so,
Okay,
yes.
good enough. That's the important thing.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I feel sorry for you.
No,
Both of you. I
that's
really
all
do.
right. It
Okay?
worked out.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Castellano, same question to you. What happens now? You know, it's bad before you came to court. You've done it. What do you think?
Just got to move forward and move on. Not really sure what's going to happen now. Anyway, it is what it is.
It is what it is. All right. Well, I hope you two can live at peace.
I'm sure
Okay?
we can.
Good luck
Yeah,
to you.
I'm sure. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
So, Doug, the defendant is countersuing for paralegal fees unless that is in the contract. Attorney's fees, paralegal fees, whatever. Unless it's specified in the contract, can't get it. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.